Title: Andrew Carnegie, Master of Iron and Insight. Chapter 1: The Steel Titan Who Became a Philosopher of Giving. Andrew Carnegie arrived in America as a poor young boy from Scotland, carrying with him nothing more than a dream and a relentless work ethic. He worked in a cotton mill, then in railroad shops, and eventually built a steel empire that transformed the American landscape. Yet what makes Carnegie truly remarkable is not simply the wealth he amassed, but the wisdom he crafted from his journey. One story from Carnegie's life illustrates this transformation. When he was 20, he witnessed a group of young workers in a rail yard protesting for better wages. Carnegie, who had earned a modest living at that time, was moved not by sympathy but by a burning curiosity. What is the secret of good business? What drives prosperity? He would later reveal that the answer lay in a simple principle: focus on long-term value over immediate profit. Carnegie's own words carry that insight. In his essay, The Gospel of Wealth, he wrote, "The best way to raise a society's standard of living is by building it on a strong foundation, not by rewarding the mere accumulation of wealth." This philosophy turned the Titan of Steel into the advocate of philanthropy, encouraging his contemporaries to use capital for the public good. What can we learn from Carnegie's introductory life journey? First, he illustrates that perseverance builds a platform for influence. Second, he shows that wealth, when used responsibly, can be a force for social progress. And third, he exemplifies the powerful intersection of business acumen and moral purpose. Concrete steps you can adopt today. 1. Identify one area in your local community where your skills or resources can create lasting value. Perhaps a workshop for young entrepreneurs or a scholarship fund. 2. Commit to a long-term goal rather than short-term gains. Set milestones over 5, 10, or 20 years. 3. Keep a decision journal to reflect on whether each choice serves not only your growth, but also the greater good. In closing, Carnegie reminds us that early challenges can forge the greatest learning, and that a life of purpose is both achievable and essential. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories of timeless wisdom. Reflective question: what early challenge can you transform into an opportunity for lasting impact in your life? Chapter 2: 5 Core Principles of Andrew Carnegie. Among the many lessons woven into Andrew Carnegie's narrative, 5 principles stand out for their clarity and consistency across his career. 1. Work for an end, not just for the pay. Carnegie believed that every task should serve a broader mission. He once said, "The more you concentrate and simplify your efforts, the more significant your impact will be." 2. Seek continuous learning. Even as he led a colossus of factories, Carnegie read widely, from economics to literature, believing that knowledge fuels innovation. 3. Invest in people, not just capital. He forged a culture that rewarded talent, creating a workforce of educated, efficient, and motivated employees. 4. Use wealth to lift society. Carnegie's philanthropic legacy, libraries, universities, and research institutions, demonstrates his commitment to education and opportunity. 5. Plan for legacy. He often advised that a business should be nurtured with future generations in mind, ensuring that success outlives the founder. These principles appear intertwined in stories that shaped Carnegie's enterprises. For instance, his development of the Pennsylvania Railroad's iron rails was driven by a vision to connect communities, not merely to generate profits. In 1881, Carnegie launched his Carnegie Libraries program, channeling billions into public institutions that would empower millions through access to knowledge. Modern entrepreneurs can translate Carnegie's principles into actionable strategies. Adopt a mission statement that frames every product or service as a portal to a brighter future, not merely a revenue stream. Allocate a portion of your time or funding to lifelong education, whether through courses, mentorship, or reading. Create incentive structures that reward teamwork, innovation, and communal well-being over cutthroat competition. Adopt a systematic approach to philanthropy, choosing causes aligned with your core mission. Build a succession plan that incorporates training, ownership sharing, or advisory boards, ensuring your enterprise remains resilient. These steps empower you to emulate Carnegie's blueprint for sustainable success. Conclusion: Carnegie's principles anchor a business model that values humanity as fiercely as it values profits. The result is a legacy that extends beyond numbers and into the fabric of society. Like, share, and subscribe to keep drawing from the well of historic wisdom. Reflective question: which of Carnegie's principles speaks most to you, and how will you weave it into your daily work or personal pursuits? Chapter 3: Carnegie turned principles into steel-hard actions. Carnegie didn't just philosophize, he applied his beliefs to shape the steel industry's most advanced practices. The story of the Bessemer process illustrates this. Carnegie invested heavily in new steel-making technology, replacing iron with steel at record speeds. By 1885, his ventures produced steel goods that were cheaper, stronger, and longer-lasting than any competitor. Carnegie's insistence on continuous learning drove this process. He hired expert chemists, funded research in metallurgy, and encouraged engineers to experiment. His belief that knowledge fuels value turned the steel empire into a research laboratory, setting industry standards. When Carnegie began his philanthropy in 1886, he applied the same systematic approach that had served his mills. He surveyed educational needs, identified gaps, and then built libraries, colleges, and research institutes to fill those voids, literally financing 2,500 libraries worldwide. Each new library followed a rigorous plan: site selection, community engagement, and program development, ensuring each served lasting benefits. Carnegie's work for purpose principle manifested through job creation. He created hundreds of thousands of jobs, not as a mere labor force, but as a network of skilled professionals who gained training, benefits, and career advancement. He famously implemented an early wage and work program. He increased wages and reduced working hours for his employees, boosting morale and loyalty. Applying these models today, start by dissecting your operational workflow. Identify stages where incremental learning could reduce costs or improve quality. Invest in employee development and treat each worker as an asset. For the philanthropic journey, emulate Carnegie's approach. Map the needs of the communities where you work. Build partnerships with local leaders to tailor programs that create self-sustaining change. Conclusion: Carnegie's life demonstrates that principle and execution are inseparable. Thoughtful, evidence-based action magnifies the impact of even the simplest ideas. Like, share, and subscribe, because actions echo louder than theories. Reflective question: what skill does your organization currently lack that you can develop through focused investment, mimicking Carnegie's commitment to knowledge and people? Chapter 4: Translating Carnegie's insight into your digital era. Despite living centuries before the internet, the essence of Carnegie's wisdom remains highly relevant. Below are actionable ways you can bring his lessons into the digital age. 1. Purpose-driven productivity. Define a clear mission in your startup. Align every feature, marketing message, and partnership with that mission. If your product aims to democratize education, ensure every update supports that goal. 2. Continuous knowledge expansion. Leverage MOOCs, webinars, and industry conferences for you and your team. Keep a culture where curiosity is rewarded. Adopt an internal innovation lunch where team members present new research or technologies. 3. People-centric investment. Offer competitive benefits that focus on work-life balance, mentorship, and skill growth. Use data analytics to identify skill gaps and address them with training programs. 4. Philanthropic tech. Incorporate CSR in product design, like building an app that aggregates free educational resources for underserved regions. Allocate a percentage of annual revenues for community projects that align with your mission. 5. Legacy planning. Adopt AI-enabled dashboards that map long-term performance, ensuring that knowledge is captured and shared across generations of employees. Implement a knowledge repository or internal knowledge base that future teams can reference. Concrete steps. Set aside a fixed budget, say 1% of revenue, to support community tech education centers. Launch a company-wide hackathon aimed at solving social challenges, with prizes directed to community initiatives. Adopt metrics not only for growth, but for community reach and workforce development. Conclusion: Even in the age of smartphones and algorithms, Carnegie's emphasis on meaning, growth, and collective benefit guides a thriving, responsible business. Like, share, and subscribe for ways to keep your ventures both profitable and purposeful. Reflective question: how will you adjust your company's quarterly objectives to incorporate at least one metric that reflects social impact rather than just financial performance? Chapter 5: The Ever-Enduring Light of Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie taught us that the true value of wealth is measured in the lives it elevates. His journey from a coal mining child to a philanthropist demonstrates that ambition, when coupled with benevolence, creates a legacy that outlasts even the greatest fortunes. The key lessons for our contemporary world are: always anchor success to purpose, never cease learning, prioritize people over profit, wield wealth for societal gain, and plan for a legacy that benefits future generations. By living out these principles, we honor Carnegie's example and ensure our impact radiates well beyond our own lifetimes. Thank you for joining this journey through the mind of Andrew Carnegie. If you found inspiration in these stories, please like, share, and subscribe to keep the flame of motivation and wisdom burning bright in future videos. Final reflective question: as you close this chapter, what concrete promise will you make to yourself or to your organization to apply one of Carnegie's lessons in the next 30 days?